Work till you're 62, TRICARE or FEHB, and would you rather, all on today's Fednobabble.
This is Fednobabble, where Kevin and Cassie make federal retirement benefits understandable for humans like you. These two don't hold back as they answer questions from the Fed Pilot workshops and webinars, or from questions submitted by you at fednobabble.com.
Hi, Cassie. Welcome.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Good. Recording on a Monday morning just isn't good for my brain, I think.
Well, we're going to try and push through it. So
we'll try.
What do we got for the first question?
Here you go. Here's the first one.
All right. I am 58 with 32 years of service. Should I work until 62?
The answer is always, it depends. I mean, that's
right.
Okay, so this is a question. Just as a reminder for everyone, these are questions that I get during the workshops, the Fed Pilot workshops. And this is one that comes up all the time, or something similar. Hey, should I work until I'm 62? Or should I work until this? Or I don't know. What's your mental state like?
Yeah.
Do you even want to work? What's your health like? What are your savings like? There's no way this can be answered, at least right now.
No. And do you want another 10% on your pension? Right? Because if you make it to 62 with over 20 years of service and you're a regular FERS employee, now I'm assuming this person is following the regular FERS employee rules based on their age and how many years of service they have, they'll get that 1.1% factor instead of the regular 1% factor for that pension computation. And so it adds that extra 10%. Is your high 3 going to change?
Right.
Right. What is your, are you married? What does your spouse's retirement look like? What is your financial situation? What health condition and things like that is your spouse in? Do you need to carry FEHB for a few more years to be able to qualify to carry it in retirement? Is it even a consideration?
Yep. I think this is I think this is a question. It's a question that needs to be answered. So I'm kind of mocking it in a way, but it is a good question overall. Should you work till 62? But to tell you the truth, we aren't the ones that ask about this, you and I. Right? HR, you can't ask this of HR either. So this can only be answered by a financial professional, where they can take a look at the whole situation and say, okay, yeah, now it's just fine. So there have been people that have come to the workshop, and Cassie, you've seen this a million times. People come to the workshop. Hey, they ask this pretty much the same question, right? Hey, well, let's change it a little bit. Let's say I'm 60 with 32 years. Should I wait till 62? They come to the workshop, they ask this question, and we're like, I don't know. And then they get to meet with one of the financial professionals in our trusted network, one-on-one, get your report, just like they do, like anyone can right now. And what happens is that one of three things happens. Number one, they say, you're on a good path, and here's some options, and you're doing well. Number two, you're not doing so well. You may want to put more into your TSP before you go, and you want the 10% bump at 62 for FERS employees. Then they go, okay, I got to work until 62 then. Or the other one is, you could have retired a couple of years ago and you would be fine. And that happens as well. People come in, well, I could have retired years ago. Yeah, you could have. So it's a great question to ask. You just have to ask it of the right people, I think.
Exactly. This is not something that we can answer because we simply don't have enough information, and we're not licensed to even say whether or not that this person should retire at that age with that many years in service. There's too many, like I was saying before, there's too many different factors that go into play here that need to be looked over by a professional who understands how to coordinate different retirement plans and look at all of the different buckets that somebody has for income, TSP, Social Security, your pension, not including any other outside or private insurance plans or annuities that you might have, all of those things need to be taken into consideration and put together in a puzzle. And that's what the financial professionals do. And especially the ones that understand the federal benefits and things like that, because they can incorporate the benefits in that bigger picture, in that puzzle, in those different pieces of the pie there, and get them put together for whatever that picture looks like. I mean, what are your retirement goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you just trying to get enough money to live on, or are you trying to get enough money to, go and do things with, to travel with? Those are all different factors that really a professional needs to take a look at. We can't simply say yes or no to.
So in answer to that overall, I hope everyone got a kind of a bigger understanding that, yes, this is a great question, but what are all the other factors that you need to look at to be able to answer this? And I think between us, we just gave a whole bunch of things to think about, which is fabulous. All right, here's the next one.
All right, my husband is retired military who will be eligible for TRICARE at age 60. Should I use TRICARE and not FEHB?
Again, yeah, it depends.
It depends, yeah.
Right? But go ahead, Cassie. No, go ahead.
So there are a couple of ways that the financial professionals will try and take into consideration here. Do you need FEHB until you reach age 60, or until your spouse reaches age 60, and then you guys can get enrolled in TRICARE? What does that TRICARE plan look like? Because there are different ones. I'm assuming this is TRICARE for life, which is pretty good. TRICARE does require folks to also enroll in Medicare. Is enrolling in Medicare Part B part of your health insurance plan? If not, you might want FEHB. Also, location is another factor that comes into play here, because
very good.
We don't know what that TRICARE coverage looks like for your area. So it might be nice to have, but you may also want to have the availability to get into FEHB in retirement in the event that TRICARE pulls out of that location. So we might need to do some coordination there where we've got the FEHB program until the federal employee retires, so that way they can simply suspend FEHB and get into their spouse's TRICARE, or if they already have or are on the TRICARE policy, then they just simply decide to suspend FEHB and use the TRICARE as their primary coverage. But then they can later on re-enroll in that FEHB program in the event that TRICARE, they lose that coverage for whatever reason. So there are different ways here to coordinate these different plans and make sure that, again, that you're getting the best of both worlds, and that folks can, and cost is another thing as well. What is your TRICARE going to cost? I know it's pennies on the dollar compared to most FEHB programs, and so that might be something to think about as well. And are you going to have FEHB and Medicare? Like, all of these questions and strategies are something that a financial professional would be able to answer when they're looking at the coordination of your health insurance cost and coverage for retirement.
And I'll just add, for those who may not know what TRICARE is, just in case, basically TRICARE is the military's version of FEHB. And so in this case, the spouse is military, or is in this case is retired military. And so, that TRICARE is TRICARE for life is what they get after they retire. After, is it 60 or 62 when TRICARE for life starts up?
It's 60.
It is 60. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 60. And, I believe that's for active duty and reserves, because there's different different plans for those different types of military service. And so
Yeah, and there are different things that you can do with when you have one spouse that has TRICARE and the other spouse has FEHB. There are different combinations that most people can't take advantage of. So, Cassie, like you said, best of both worlds. Some great things you can do there. But again, you have to figure out what is right for you and your circumstance. So that's always good. Okay, next question.
How should we determine whether or not we should place money into the traditional or the Roth TSP?
And I think there's a theme in this. I think in all questions here, it depends, right? And it depends. Honestly, whenever we say it depends, that means that someone needs to take a look at the larger picture, because it might be better for you to do one or the other or both. In this case, at least with the traditional and Roth. Some of you will want to start putting a whole bunch of money into the Roth. Some of you will want more in the traditional. Some of you will have a nice spread between the two. It'll just depend on your situation. And there are pros and cons to both. And around the water cooler, you hear things like, well, the Roth is so much better than the traditional. Well, that's what I call a shortcut phrase, where it's true to an extent, but not always true. And so, right. and in some cases, it's absolutely wrong. Or it sounds right, and so people just go with it. So we have to be really careful about the water cooler talk that we hear all the time. Not that it's bad. And I actually like the water cooler talk, to tell you the truth, Cassie, because it means that people are talking about these kind of issues. People are asking questions and looking for information. And I think that's great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as people are not figuring out what their retirement is based on water cooler talk, or how they should prepare for retirement, or should they put it into the Roth or traditional based on water cooler talk, if they're not doing that, then okay. But if that gets them started thinking about it, great. I'm all for that.
Yeah. I think anything that goes to your specific retirement planning, if it's water cooler talk, you might be able to get some feedback on what other people are doing, but always run it by your financial professional or your financial advisor. Or if you don't have one, please let us know and let us help you get in touch with one, because it's so important to have those people to ask those questions to and figure out, well, I'm 20 years old. Is a Roth going to benefit me better than this guy over here who's 60 years old and gave me this information at work? Like, that's going to be completely different. There's a 40-year age gap, right?
That's right.
You bet your situation is going to be different. And in fact, my husband did this, and it drives me crazy. But his uncle was a CSRS employee, and he didn't have a TSP account. Well, he had other friends that did, and he told my husband, when he first started at 30 years old, the G fund is the safest fund to be in.
Water cooler talk right there.
That's why my husband stayed for a few years.
Yeah. That is a shortcut phrase that sounds good because you want it to be safe, right? You want to be able to have the money when you need it and for it to not disappear. But at the same time, one of the huge points of a TSP is to have the money grow. And especially if we take into consider, in fact, I did a 10-year comparison between TSP and inflation.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same. Which means your TSP is, if it's in the G fund, it's not growing. It is keeping up with inflation, and that is it. So, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying that, honestly, for most people, that will probably be wrong, but not for everyone, it'll be wrong. So again, I don't want to pass judgment on one thing or another, but what is your situation? When are you going to retire? What's your health? What's your, the same, honestly, Cassie, the same things that you said for the first question apply to the second question, apply to this question as well. You got to take a look at all those factors and put it all together as one, then you can have some answers like this, but not until then.
That's right.
Yeah. So
it
again,
depends.
Yeah,
But
it
go
always
take
depends.
action. Go get in touch with somebody. Figure out, is this going to be right for you and your situation? Don't just get stuck in the analysis of paralysis or paralysis of analysis or whatever that phrase is.
It
Don't
rhymes,
get stuck
whatever it
in
is.
your situation, because remember, no decision to take action is still a decision.
Right. Right.
It's just as bad as saying no, thank you, I don't want to change my situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, these people want to, the people listening want to, and I strongly encourage you guys to get in touch with, somebody in your area that is versed in the federal benefits. If they're not, please let us know. Go to Fednobabble.com and we'll be able to get you in touch with a financial professional in our trusted network who can be able to help you distill down all of these different questions and really give you some solid answers. They'll also prepare a benefits report for you that we offer at no cost, no obligation, no sales pitch. They simply want to get you the information that you need so you can start the planning process if you haven't already. Now, this benefits analysis as well is different than anything that you're going to get from OPM or HR or anything like that, because it really breaks down each year, the different costs for FEHB and the different costs for FEHB, and we do it on a 10-year average. So that way you can see on an estimated basis, what is that increase going to look like in your future as well, to kind of help you not only plan for right now or in retirement, but also, those retirement years and be able to coordinate all of that with your income.
By the way, Cassie puts these together. And so they're good. They're going to be good. So definitely Fednobabble.com. Go and do that. And then stay tuned for the next one, because we've got some other good questions coming up on the next one. Thanks for everyone for joining, and go take action. We'll see you next time.
To get Cassie's comprehensive report on your federal retirement benefits at no cost, no obligation, and no sales pitch, go to Fednobabble.com. While you're there, submit a question for them to answer on the show.